In 2005, before Joe Biden got his cornrows and grew what hair that he has, and by the way, bald is beautiful, so I'm told, he went to the floor of the Senate and he made a speech about the filibuster because they were concerned that during the Bush presidency, the filibuster would be eliminated by the Republicans because the Democrats began filibustering judicial nominees, which they hadn't done before. And they were doing it repeatedly, particularly circuit court nominees. So under the majority leader at the time, there was Bill Frist, there were others, they said, all right, we're going to pull the nuclear option, which is going to prevent the filibuster, destroy the filibuster, end it, because of the way you guys are abusing it. And they were abusing it because, again, in American history, it was never used this way, particularly on so many qualified nominees as a way to stop the president, in this case, as I said, George W. Bush, from filling the judiciary, the third branch. And so Biden, among others, goes to the floor of the Senate and he says this. Go.
Specifically, Article 1, Section 5 of the Constitution states, each House may determine its own rules for its own proceedings. Precisely. Each House may determine the rules of its proceedings. End of quote. The text contains no limitation or conditions. The clause plainly vests in the Senate the plenary power to defy its internal rules as it sees fit. And the filibuster was just one of those rules. Many of the many rules that vest the minority within the Senate with the potential to have a final say over the Senate's business. It was clear from the start that the Senate would be a different type of legislative body, it would be a consensus body that respects the rights of minorities, even the extreme minority power of a single senator. Because that single senator can represent a single and whole state. The way this played out in practice was through the right of unlimited debate. President Lyndon Johnson, the master of the Senate, put it this way: in this country, a majority may govern, but it does not rule. The genius of our constitutional and representative government is the multitude of safeguards provided to protect minority interest. The Senate Majority Leader Howard Baker in 1993 wrote that compromising the filibuster, quote, would topple one of the pillars of American democracy, the protection of minority rights from majority rule. The Senate is the only body in the federal government where these minority rights are fully and specifically protected, end of quote. Simply put, the nuclear option would eviscerate the Senate and turn it into a second House of Representatives. If that were the case, we'd have a unicameral body. It is not only a bad idea, it upsets the constitutional design and does a disservice to the country. No longer would the Senate be a different kind of legislative body that the founders intended. No longer would the Senate be the saucer to cool the passions of the immediate majority. Without a filibuster, more than 40 senators would lack the means by which to encourage compromise in the appointment of judges.
What do you think of that? 16 and a half years ago. What do you think of that? And he's done a 180, and this is the way the man operates. Now, what happened was the Republicans did not use the nuclear option. Harry Reid becomes the majority leader, and he uses the nuclear option on judges, district court judges, and appellate judges, but he excludes the Supreme Court. District court judges and appellate judges, so they begin filibustering more and more and more and more of them. Again, which hadn't been done. It was done before, to some extent, which is why this came up, and then it was done constantly. And then the Republicans take over the majority. They said, okay, well, now we're going to filibuster Supreme Court justices. So the Democrats always fire the first shot. And in this case, they fired it in the application of the filibuster to judicial nominees. And so now you have the filibuster rule applying to judicial nominees. So now they're very angry, you see, because the filibuster is applied to legislation. Now, the Democrat Party has used the filibuster more than the Republican Party in modern times, even in older times. And they used it all the time. Republicans have used it too, but less so, but nonetheless. Now they've decided this is their opportunity to fully and completely change this country. And that is what they're trying to do. They don't have a majority in the Senate. They have 50 votes. It's 50-50. They have a minor, minimal majority in the House. And yet they want to make fundamental, forever changes to our constitutional order. That is what's going on. And they're afraid they're going to lose the House. They might lose the Senate. Can you imagine if they had 51 or 52 senators and a majority in the House? There'd be no way to stop them. There'd be no way to stop them. So we're not going to win every election. And this is a big problem that we have in this country right now. The Democrat Party is utterly power-hungry and utterly rogue.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.